Just a young kid from Athens, Greece, drafted 13th overall in the 2013 NBA draft by the Milwaukee Bucks. Standing 6'10" and weighing just 205 pounds with an impressive 7'3" wingspan, Giannis was just a kid with a really impressive frame and a great mobility for his size. But analysts' heads were turned to the level of competition in Greece being pretty slim and his extreme lack of muscle. This placed Giannis into a situation where his ceiling was high, but his floor was pretty low. The kid was compared to Nicolas Batum on draft night. Nicolas Batum? It would all come down to how much work Giannis was willing to put in to fix his weaknesses, and, well, that man demolished his ceiling. Hey everyone, DC NBA Junkie here, and today's video is more about how Giannis has faced criticism throughout his career, even today, and why Antetokounmpo's game has, and still does, requires countless hours of working on his body and utilizing it like no other player we've ever seen. Without further ado, let's get to it. Without a doubt, Giannis Antetokounmpo has received criticism to different parts of his game throughout the entirety of his career, and all the criticism is a lot of the fans, the media, the critics all trying to, do what they do and best, and it is to look at the negatives for people's games because that's what stands out to them. And for Giannis, I can argue that, I can say comfortably that for his rookie to sophomore year, he was pretty known for, he was well known for being a very skinny guy, very raw, and the criticism there was just that, like I said before in the intro, is that he was weak and he didn't exactly have the body frame to match up with some of the league's best 3s, 4s, and 5s. But, down the line, they knew that he could defend probably 4 positions at the time, and also just his lack of, competition in Greece how would that translate to the NBA? That's kind of why he was drafted so low. So I understand that criticism. And even from the 3rd to 5th years, that's when he started to really pick it up. That's when he started going from 13 points per game to really picking it up to 22 points per game. And at that point, it was really more of lack of fully utilizing his body, because at that time we all knew he could score the ball and he was really freakishly athletic, but the biggest critique to his game was just he didn't have exactly the best jumper. And from his 7th year even to now, and for the last section that includes his 6th year, but for this year we've seen a lot of criticism to continued knocks to his jumper. Even though he's improved on feeling more comfortable taking it and making it, he's still continuing to get knocks on it because he's not exactly shooting efficiently from the field. His three-point percentages are still pretty low for him, but at the same time, it's still really impressive. Just a progression of him being comfortable and taking more three-pointers. And also the Harden criticism, that's kind of another thing that that's one of the more bigger parts of why I'm making this video. Harden basically said that it's obviously not a good critique considering that Giannis is one of a kind, but what he said was, "I wish I could be 7 feet, run and just dunk. That takes no skill at all. I gotta actually play basketball and learn how to have skill. I'll take that any day." And that's a criticism that happened during the All-Star break where they were taking shots at each other because Giannis was a captain and he refused not to pick Harden, so they were taking shots at each other. And I started to think about that, and I've actually seen a lot of Twitter and just social media comments in general and critics talking about how maybe Giannis should give him a lot more credit than what it's worth. But to me, I understand that it was just an NBA player and from Harden, and they're taking shots at each other, but we've never seen anybody at 6'11" and 7 foot have not only a large and impressive frame, but be able to be as agile, as quick around defenders, as strong, as quick. Like I said before, just doing everything you can do at a guard, but at a 6'11", and he's 250 too. It's insane nowadays. He put on so much muscle throughout his career. You can say nowadays there are a couple players who kind of match his kind of physique and his kind of play. Ben Simmons is the most similar, but for me, obviously Ben Simmons isn't Giannis because he's very inconsistent with his play. There's times where Ben Simmons is very consistent with his defense, and there's times when he's not. Kevin Durant is also, and I think he probably is the most similar because, he's the most talented out of the other comparisons. But Kevin Durant is not, as strong. He's not as built as Giannis, and that's why Giannis has been able to get around defenders and get to the rim as easily. I've never seen Kevin Durant been able to muscle his way to the rim. I've seen him through his quickness and his first step, but not through muscle. And Pascal Siakam, because of his ability, he's pretty, who's kind of like a point forward in my opinion, but he's just a lot slower than Giannis. He's not as quick as Giannis. That's the thing. Giannis possesses something that just nobody in the league has ever possessed at that height and at that frame. His ability to get past defenders is just so unique. And I just can't reiterate enough how quick he is, how agile he is, and how strong he is, and how that he's being able to not only build himself in the weight room and through his workouts, but how he's been able to translate it to basketball. We've seen players who have had really impressive frames, but they've not exactly translated it all the way to basketball. I mean, we've had players like David Robinson is really well known for having a really strong frame, and he was able to dominate in the league. Shaq for that too, but those players lacked speed because they were so strong and they were so built. Giannis is so strong, but he's been able to incorporate also his quickness too. It's what separates him from pretty much any other player in the league and makes him so unique. The way he's been able to improve as well every single year of his career, and already being a one-time MVP in the 2018-2019 season, and then now this year, he's most likely going to be a two-time MVP at 25 years old, is just insane, especially since his birthday is going to be in December, so he will be 25 when the season ends. It's just unlike any other athlete we've ever seen at his height, and I just think when you're critiquing his game, I guess personally you can say that his three-pointer his outside shot is a little questionable, and sometimes maybe his inconsistencies on offense and his playmaking, but at the end of the day, Giannis has everything basically, and he's only 25. He's only getting better. I just can't wait to see what this kid does in the future. Once again, Giannis has been improving and just improving every year after year after year, and like I said, he's 25, and it's crazy to me because he's already kind of putting up numbers that have just already kind of like record-breaking numbers to me, in my opinion, for his size and frame, and it's only getting better. I mean, his assist numbers are nice too, and like I was saying, at just 25 years old, he's already an MVP, and last season, in the 2018-19 season, he averaged 27.7 points, 12.5 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, and 1.5 blocks in that season. It's just unreal to me. He had a 121 offensive rating, and he had a 99 defensive rating, which was one of the league's best, and had 14.4 win shares in 1 year. That's really impressive as well. 57.8 field goal percentage. He also had a 30.9 PER, which was the league's best, and he would actually, in this current season, also has the best PER, and I'll get to that, player efficiency rating. And this year, like I said, he's just improved everywhere basically, averaging practically 30 points a game at 29.6 points per game, 13.7 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, a 116 offensive rating and a 96 defensive rating, which is the league's best, a 31.6 PER, which is the best. He has the highest usage rate in the league in 37.4%, a 4.8 defensive win shares, which is the best in the league. He's just statistically strong, and he's also been statistically strong in the playoffs, but there are some holes there because we've seen him struggle, especially last year, against the Raptors when it's not working through him, especially when he's not on or when he's being guarded pretty well, the team sometimes struggles. We've seen it last year where he was trying to kick it out to players and they weren't knocking down their shots. That's where you kind of have to rely on, especially since teams are going to game plan you when you're such a big part of the team, when you have the highest usage rate in the league. And we obviously know how great a defensive player Giannis is and how he's led the Bucks to have the best defense in the league and one of the best offenses, but the best defense in the league. Once again, he's doing this all at 25 years old, and he can still improve skill-wise, which is already a scary sign, which is, through points per game, his rebounds, and even his assists. Like I said, he's averaged 6 assists this year. This guy could average almost a triple-double just down the line. And as well, Giannis could be one of the only players in league history to win the Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, and Finals MVP all in one season, which means you also won the championship, which the only other player to ever do this was Hakeem Olajuwon. MJ did get the MVP, he did get the Defensive Player of the Year, the scoring title, and the MVP, but he's never gotten the MVP, Finals MVP, and DPOY. Just overall, when talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's just been outstanding throughout his career so far, especially these past 2 years. Probably going to have a back-to-back MVP years. Won't be unanimous because if he wins, but it won't be unanimous if he's the clear favorite going into these playoffs. I mean, the playoffs usually aren't an MVP indicator, but there will be LeBron votes just because of his impressive season at 17 years. He's just doing things that only the greats achieve, you know? And he's only doing it at 25. I know I say that a lot, but I just gotta keep saying it because it's that important. Giannis is just one of the best players we've already seen to date. He's just statistically and through his accolades already having an impressive career. And I just think big things are gonna come from him. With Giannis being one of a kind and being able to perform, what that really means is kind of being able to perform at a high level with a unique frame. We've seen players who are tall, but a lot of the times when you're footer, like a 7-footer, you lack speed, and when you're shorter, you obviously lack height, quickness. I mean, not quickness, but you lack some of the things that you can't do when you're 6'11", you know, rebounding and defensive presence. That's what's made Giannis, and probably a Defensive Player of the Year, the league favorite for Defensive Player of the Year. You know, his frame has just allowed him to be the best defensively, but he's also doing it on the offensive end as well. And I think he can really lead the league for the next 5 to 10 years, just being at the top and, you know, being one of the top 3 guys. At one point, I do think his frame will get to him, and with his age and his frame will probably catch up to him at some point. But his determination as well has just allowed him to set himself apart. If he didn't put the work in, you know, at those early years, he never would have gotten to where he's at, because his frame is the biggest reason that he's at where he's at right now. And what he's done on and off the court, especially off the court for his family, and giving game shoes to kids after his games is a really cool thing. It just shows me that Giannis clearly worked for his unique skill and success, and I'm definitely proud of him and the Bucks organization for taking their chances at the 13th pick with a raw kid from Greece. But I do also really hope that the Bucks can re-sign him. And if you want to hear my just my team features, just my review on the Bucks and maybe throughout these playoffs and with Giannis moving forward, y'all can check out my Bucks video, my team review on them. It will be showing up at the top of the screen. And yeah, that will be the end of today's video. If you enjoyed, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm out.